According to Peter Inaro, unquote, Idiagbon, the regime's Rottweiler, was in Mecca performing the Hajj, which left his mate, David Buhari, desperately exposed. Army Chief of Staff Major General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida emerged as the new leader, supported by the coup announcer, Major General Sani Abacha, an enigmatic schemer Nigerians will come to love to hate, unquote.
Disaffection with Buhari had been evident for months, and his removal somehow was expected. At a parade like this, he and his colleagues survived at least one assassination attempt by 42 army officers.
Well, Buhari has not delivered the goods. He has not been able to decide on what to do with the detainees from Shehu Shagari's previous regime. He has not come up with a comprehensive economic policy. He has built himself into a corner.
In the words of Peter Inaro, unquote, the two terrorists began to construct the Nigeria of their vision. Fascism without the Hitler straight-arm salute. Among their emphatic achievements was the execution of a female convict by a firing squad, a first by a military regime in Nigeria. The scope of state violence and the innovation of absurdly long prison sentences imposed by the courts frightened and disgusted most Nigerians. The regime shot itself in the foot when it recruited international brigands to carry out a gangland-style operation coordinated by a Nigerian army major in London, unquote. It is on record that Buhari's tribunals sentenced their victims to terms ranging from 100 to 600 years in jail. Even Buhari himself considered that Yakubu Danjuma, Olusegun Obasanjo, and Shehu Yaradua were reportedly contributive to his rise to power. But Buhari is a lone ranger with little or no loyalty traits. After Buhari seized power, Shehu Yaradua might have expected to have been consulted more widely or more frequently by his old friend than was the case in the matters of public policy. Even his two-time ADC and protege, the ex-major ex-colonel Mustafa Jakolo and later Emir of Gwandu, felt the relationship between Shehu Yaradua and Buhari had become one-sided, unquote. I did not see what Buhari did for Shehu in return for all the things he did in sticking Shehu's neck out for him. Tafida thought Buhari's talents were being wasted as governor of Borno State, so he made him Minister of Petroleum and the first chairman of the NNPC. Later, he made him military secretary over the grumblings of senior officers, unquote. One of Fela's hit songs was based on the disappearance of 2.8 billion naira NNPC money that got stolen under Buhari's watch as petroleum minister and head of the NNPC in 1978.
2.8 billion naira, oil money is missing. 2.8 billion naira, oil money is missing. Then set up inquiry. They say money no lost to you. They dabaru everybody.
Under intense public pressure, the Shagari government, which shortly took over thereafter from the military, set up a Senate probe which traced the money to a London Midland bank account belonging to Buhari, from where the money again got missing. It is noteworthy that the value of 2.8 billion naira in 1978 was $3 billion, or in today's naira value, 555 billion naira. The then Senate Majority Leader and Chairman of the Senate Probe Panel, Dr. Abubakar Olushola Saraki, revealed this discovery in an interview with Vera Ifudo of the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA). When Ifudo reported this, she was sacked by the NTA, but the woman went to court and presented all the evidence and one in a case of wrongful dismissal. Saraki, until his death, never denied whatever he told the lady in the interview. Predictably, the first act of Buhari and his cohorts upon seizing power was to ransack the Senate and destroy all papers relating to the 2.8 billion naira probe. And then they followed that up quickly with the indiscriminate arrest of politicians. On January 14, 2007, Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka laid down reasons why Buhari doesn't deserve to be president. Unquote. In Buhari, we have been offered no evidence of the surest prospect of change. On the contrary, all evidence suggests that this is one individual who remains convinced that this is one ex-ruler that the nation cannot call to order. Buhari was one of the generals who treated a commission of inquiry, the Oputa panel, with unconcealed disdain. Soyinka went on to describe the execution of Owo, Ogedengbe, and Ojuolakbe as nothing short of premeditated murder. Soyinka further added, unquote, "Since leaving office, Buhari has declared in the most categorical terms that he had no regrets over this murder and would do so again." Tai Solarin was incarcerated by that regime and denied even the medication for his asthmatic condition, according to Soyinka, unquote. Tai did not ask to be sent for treatment overseas. All he asked was his traditional medicine that had proved so effective after years of struggle with asthma. And on the Secretary-General-in-Chief Adekunle Ajasin, Soyinka wrote, unquote, "Ajasin was arraigned and tried before Buhari's punitive tribunal but acquitted. Dissatisfied, Buhari ordered his retrial. Again, the tribunal could not find this man guilty of a single crime. So once again, he was returned for trial, only to be acquitted of all charges of corruption or abuse of office. Was Chief Ajasin thereby released? No. He was ordered detained indefinitely." There was the case of Buhari's deliberate, humiliating treatment of the then Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, and Oba Sijuade, the Oni of Ife, over their visit to the State of Israel. This royal duo went to Israel on their private steam and private business. Since when, one may ask, did a free citizen of the Nigerian nation require the permission of a head of state to visit a foreign nation that was willing to offer that tourist a visa? The humiliation of Ado Bayero and the Oni of Ife demonstrates Buhari's total lack of respect for our traditional rulers and his gross disdain for what our traditional institutions stand for. In 1999, Obasanjo set up a management investigation panel to probe the activities of PTF under General Buhari. In the report of the investigative committee, it was revealed that the Afri Projects Consortium, APC, were contracted by PTF as management and project consultants. Buhari, as executive chairman of PTF, delegated them the power of engineer in all appropriate projects requiring such power. Afri Project Consortium, APC, then assumed absolute powers of initiation, approval, and execution of all projects. To corroborate this, a PTF trustee, Group Captain Usman Jibril, remarked that, unquote, "Buhari brought in the late Ahmad Salhijo, his in-law, without informing us. He just saw these boys in the meeting. We asked him, 'Who are these boys?' He said they were just helping him take notes. We didn't know that he had engaged them as consultants without our knowledge and consent because we are all members. I told him that it was wrong. As trustees, if anything went wrong, we were the people that were prosecuted, not any other person. I asked them to change the procedure and they were not ready to change it. I said, okay, bye-bye, unquote. Salih Hijab, who was curiously reported dead the very day a committee was set up to probe the PTF, was the owner of Afri Projects Consortium, APC. APC was indicted for overcharging the PTF for up to about 25 billion naira by the Interim Management Committee and for also importing substandard, soon-to-be expired drugs at overinflated prices. This calls to question the ability of General Muhammadu Buhari to manage the Nigerian economy and fight corruption if elected president. In the weekend of January 11, 2015, these day newspapers reportedly got exclusive hold of the original copy of a report by the Petroleum Special Trust Fund PTF Interim Management Committee instituted on July 7, 1999 by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo. By the time it was being disbanded by President Obasanjo in 1999, records show that the APC Afri Projects Consortium had collected 181 billion 795 million naira, and that Ahmed Salih Hijab, Buhari's brother-in-law, was his front at the organization. Buhari was the czar of this empire, but it was a clear case of the voice of Jacob and the hands of Esau. Although the 2011 election was deemed the cleanest so far since Nigeria's return to democracy in 1999, it was also, according to Human Rights Watch, among the bloodiest. And it is widely acknowledged that this is as a result of the fact that supporters of Buhari let loose the dogs of war. Over 800 Nigerians lay dead, and about 65,000 more were displaced. Much of the violence occurred in northern states when protests by Buhari supporters degenerated into violent riots or sectarian killings. The former FCT minister, Malam Nasri El-Rufai, in his capacity then as the APC Deputy National Secretary in January 2014, said, and unquote, "The next election is likely to be violent and many people are likely going to die. And the only alternative left to get power is to take it by force. This is the reality on ground." Deadline, May 14, 2012. While speaking to supporters in Kaduna, Muhammadu Buhari said, unquote, "If what happened in 2011 should again happen in 2015, by the grace of God, the dog and the baboon will all be soaked in blood." In this context, Buhari's suggestion that 2015 could be violent cannot be taken lightly. Buhari's stance and antecedents on Sharia law for Nigeria are also so well documented. Buhari is credited with statements such like, unquote, "Christians should not worry when Muslims chop off their own hands and hands in the name of Sharia because it is none of their business." Or, "Muslims should only vote for Muslims," or "for those that will protect their interest," unquote. Major General Muhammadu Buhari attended the Lagos State Interdenominational Thanksgiving service with his running mate, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, and Governor Babatunde Fashola. All these men had their wives by their sides except Buhari. For a man who preaches change and desires to rule a country made up of men and women in almost equal halves, it is an anomaly to have an invincible wife. Interestingly, This is not the first time that Mrs. Aisha Buhari would be left behind in her husband's aspiration. In 2003, she was not prominent when Buhari ran against Obasanjo. Buhari lost. 4 years later, when Buhari ran against Umaru Yar'Adua, nothing changed. Buhari lost. In 2011, Buhari lost. This is not a coincidence. Not for a man who sentenced a crippled mother of 2 children to death by firing squad. In 1971, Buhari got married to his first wife, Safinatu Buhari, who was the first lady of Nigeria between 1983 and 1985. They had 5 children together, 4 girls and 1 boy, Zulaihat, Fatima, Musa, who is now deceased, Hadizat, and Safinatu, who was named after her mother, Buhari's first wife. In 1988, Buhari divorced his first wife, Safinatu. Many allege that on release from house arrest and detention in Benin, he divorced Safinatu for daring to ask General Babangida's help to treat their daughter, who then was ill. In December 1989, Buhari got married to his second and current wife, Aisha Buhari, nee Halilu. They also, like in his first marriage, have 5 children together, 1 boy and 4 girls. They are Aisha, Halima, Yusuf, Zara, and Aminat. On 14 January 2006, Safinatu Buhari, the former First Lady of Nigeria and Buhari's first wife, died from complications of diabetes. In November 2012, Buhari's first daughter, Zulaihat Junaid, died from sickle cell anemia after having a baby 2 days before at a hospital in Kaduna. In an interview on Liberty FM Radio Kaduna on Sunday, June 2nd, 2013, Buhari has this to say, unquote, "While the Niger Delta were treated like kings, the Jama'atu al-Hissuna leader Awati wa Jihad, which some people call Boko Haram, are being killed and their houses destroyed, unlike the special treatment given to the Niger Delta militants. This is injustice to northern Nigeria." Buhari is a man who would seek power but abdicate responsibility when he gets it, and the facts don't lie. General Igabon personified nearly everything associated with the Buhari regime. In a similar vein, when General Buhari was appointed by General Sani Abacha as Executive Chairman of the Petroleum Special Trust Fund (PTF) from 1994 to 1999, he did not take any personal charge of much of what happened throughout the period. Instead, he ceded his authority to a firm of consultants, Afri Projects Consortium (APC), a firm owned by Buhari's brother-in-law. APC was given exclusive powers to initiate projects, assess and approve their probable cost, execute the projects, assess the quality of execution, all without any higher supervision. Once again, General Buhari's lack of capacity to take responsibility was amply demonstrated when, after his nomination as the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, he couldn't immediately choose a running mate. Characteristically, Buhari ceded the responsibility for choosing a running mate to another national leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In 3 consecutive elections, Nigerians have said they do not want Muhammadu Buhari to be their president. But Buhari simply refuses to take no for an answer. But how honorable and loyal is the man Buhari? It is a veiled curiosity that he hardly keeps faith with his political partners and friends. a character trait which might question loyalty and trust. Since 2003, he has been in the APP, the ANPP, the CPC, and now the APC. The curious characteristics of a political journeyman. Buhari will be 73 years old in 2015. If he is voted president and he runs for a second term in office, he will be president even at the age of 81 years. So for a man who was first head of state at the age of 41, that equates a period spanning 40 years. Let's stop a minute and ask, does Buhari possess the temperament to be Nigeria's president in a globalized 21st century? Former Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Malam Nasri El-Rufai, and present APC governorship candidate for Kaduna State, wrote in a public letter in October 2010 that Buhari remains, unquote, perpetually unelectable, and that Buhari's insensitivity to Nigeria's diversity and his parochial focus are already well known, unquote. Curiously today, barely 4 years later, El-Rufai's APC wants Nigerians to ride on Buhari's insensitivity and celebrate his parochial narrow-mindedness. It is obvious Buhari will destroy Nigeria now, just as he did 30 years ago. The rain may beat the leopard, but it cannot wash away its spots.
But Buhari pull over, Buhari pull over. Bivas, Buhari pull over, Buhari pull over. Show me your certificate or your pull over, Buhari pull over. No deceive us, Buhari pull over, Buhari pull over. But Buhari pull over, Buhari pull over. Bivas, Buhari pull over, Buhari pull over. Show me your certificate or your pull over, Buhari pull over. No they wash us, Buhari pull over.